Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, March 19th edition of the Kiwanis Club of Easton's semi-weekly meeting. So with that, let us stand for the pledge and then we'll sing God Bless America. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
of the
States
United States of America and to the republic on which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
All right, so that concludes my portion of the program for now, and I'm going to turn it over to Sue, who will handle things at this point.
And I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Trina Johnson Brady, who is Director and Community Mobilizer for Wilson Area Communities That Care at Coalition and Wilson Area Links Family Center Incorporated. And I was very excited when I saw that you were on we were having you for a speaker, because I remember when you were here the last time, it was so interesting. And last year, the club did participate in Touch a Truck and hope to do it again this year. And so I will let Jan introduce you.
I think Sue, you did a nice job. But anyway, Trina has been involved in the nonprofit sector for 25 years. She does have a master's degree from Kutztown University. And I would say that you heard a chance to say too, because I think that's so much good for the communities that care within Wilson. And her experience too in the nonprofit world. She's had an impact in the Leon Valley. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you everyone for welcoming me back today. Got some exciting updates for you. First, on the updates, we go to the next screen. I have some accolades for our coalition that I'd like to share with you. Last year, this is Joelle Strahler, and she is our secretary for the coalition, and she also runs our social media platforms. And she was nominated for the Commonwealth Prevention Alliance Prevention Month nomination for Makes Good Happen category. So we went to the award ceremony there. Our coalition also received an award from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District, Pennsylvania. It's called their Love and Light Award, and they honor different people and organizations in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania that have contributed positively to the community. And we were one of only 2 organizations that received that award last year. There were individuals, but we were one of 2 organizations. That's the U.S. Attorney General from Philadelphia. That's with us. So if you want to go to the next one. So I was invited to represent the coalition at the Penn State Prevention Conference, their 25th anniversary. And I was on a panel with someone from Mothers Against Drug Drivers, from different drug and alcohol organizations and things like that. And then last fall, I was also at the first Lehigh Valley Community Impact Conference on a panel with Habitat for Humanity and a couple other organizations. And then last June, we were, Dr. Wright, who was the former assistant principal at Wilson, and I did a presentation at the Commonwealth Prevention Alliance Conference in Harrisburg about how we built our coalition and were able to achieve some success. That's it about our accolades. And then last March, we had our community action plan presentation, and this was at St. Luke's, and I know we had a couple members that were there. St. Luke's in Easton, our Lamont McClure, what gave an introduction, also the president of St. Luke's gave a welcome to everyone, and we had a really great turnout, as you can see here. We were very surprised at how many people. These are mostly our key leaders, executive directors of local organizations that attended this particular. And I just want to remind you, I spoke about this last time I was here. Our coalition focuses, it's all data driven, and it focuses on data from the Pennsylvania Youth Survey. And then there's 4 domains in the survey that we cover, and we focus mostly on community as part of our coalition, and also the peer individual, but some family as well. And then the purpose of the Pennsylvania Youth Survey is to identify the strengths of the community and determine where the potential problems are. So as we go to the next slide, potential problems are risk factors. So the survey doesn't say that there's 50% of the students are involved in substances. It says 50% of the students might be at risk of starting to use substances. And then the protective factors are also included, things like family engagement and family management and things like that. So you want to go to the next slide. These are our priority risk factors that we identified: low attachment to neighborhood, perceived risk of drug use, depressive symptoms, and parental attitudes favorable towards antisocial behavior. And our big priority protective factor is increasing rewards for pro-social involvement in the community sector. And we'll go to the numbers a little bit later, but I'd like to feature some of the things that we're doing to increase this protective factor. When I say pro-social opportunities, that's engagement in the community. That's, being on a sports team, that's volunteering at a touch a truck event or something like that. And that is the most powerful protection that we can give the students to offset those risk factors that are in their lives. So these are just some of our partners. This was our photos of Santa a couple of years ago, and St. Luke's at the top. All right, so we had a partnership with Easton Kiwanis last year through the grant program that you have. And your grant helped us to enhance the programming that was at the academic summer camp that they did at the intermediate school. So the summer camp was something that the school district funded through their grant funding that they received. But they wanted to make it so it wasn't just summer school, that it was a summer camp. So they had academic programs, but they also had enhancements that were funded by this organization, like the Shanti Project. If anyone's interested, familiar with them, they do mindfulness instruction with students. And then also the Cowan Foundation came in and did programming. So these are just this is some of the feedback about Summer Warrior Academy. This one in particular. The opportunity to get students interested in things they do not regularly participate in, such as the gardening and mindfulness. So that just called out those 2 things that we help with. So if you'd like to see any more of these, up close, I have a printout that you can take a look at the end. So we have some photos. This is Cowan Foundation, and Cowan Foundation, this is the Shanti Project last year. And then also, in addition, so this is not using the Kiwanis funding, but we also had our summer playground again last year. We had funding so that we could expand it to the intermediate school as well. And that's this photo here. We had a smaller group at the intermediate school, but a lot of people don't realize that the 5th and 6th graders, they also need a place to be safe and to get nutrition and things like that. So it's not just for the younger kids. But with some additional grant funding, we were able to bring in enhancements to those programs as well. Another community program, or 2 community programs that we do, are the Touch a Truck event that you're very familiar with. This is a huge group of people that were lined up to get the backpacks and school supplies. You can see Piscatello's is back there. We have all kinds of big major equipment. We also had the Wilson Foundation, Education Foundation was there, and they raffled off. They didn't charge anything for it. It was more of a door prize type of thing. They raffled off 2 scooters and bike helmets that were donated by St. Luke's. So it was a real community effort. And then we carried that into our Photos with Santa. Now, the Photos with Santa was created a few years ago by the Links Board to try to be a fundraiser, but it also was a community service project. So we wanted to get, more community involved and be able to have our Warrior Bag children they receive the weekend meal bags each week because they experience food insecurity. We wanted to make sure they had a place to go and enjoy this type of thing without having to spend any money. So it turned into a coalition event because when we started enhancing it that way. So we had the Lehigh Valley Harmonizers came in this year and they gave us all kinds of entertainment. Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus arrived by fire truck from the Wilson Borough Fire Company. So it was a really great event again this year. We also started doing coalition mixers and which led to a community walk. So we had about 25 people on a beautiful day in June. We walked from User Park to the high school and we identified all of the strengths and possible enhancements that could happen on that walk that would encourage high school students to go to the park rather than walking across 25th Street to Wawa after school, which is that we hear is the big thing. It's a dangerous intersection and everything. So there's lots of data that we gathered from that we're still working on trying to figure out the best way to present it to local decision makers. So our goals on here are increasing certain things by a certain percentage. Now, these are based on our 2021 PACE data numbers, and we've received the 2023 PACE data numbers since then. So we're just going to skip to the next screen. All right, so the reason that we identified community rewards for pro-social involvement as our priority protective factor is that it was, in 2021, it was 34%. In 2017, it was 63%. So, and it fell 10 percentage points before the pandemic started. So we knew it was on a downward slide before the pandemic happened. But in 2023, it only went up 1%. So that's definitely something that's really on our radar. And that we want to continue these community type of programs and also the programs that you help to enhance with the students in the academic program. If we look at these numbers here, the low neighborhood attachment, it didn't get better by 2 percentage points. And the perceived risk of drug use dropped by 20 percentage points, which is pretty amazing. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Depressive symptoms went down by 5 percentage points, but parental attitudes favorable towards antisocial behavior went up 7 percentage points. So that is a parent that says, oh, it's okay for my kid to have a beer or have his friends come over and he'll drink beer. And that starts that early onset of substance use that can lead to more problems that down the road. So that's something we definitely want to address. We have started some parenting programs. We just started one called Guiding Good Choices, and that's delivered through Concern, which is a local mental health organization. They had the training, and that's to encourage families to talk together about, what's out there, what's going on in their children's lives, to strengthen that bond so that they can help to guide the students through those difficult decisions. The perceived risk of drug use. The first number was during the pandemic. So kids weren't with their friends a lot. They were still masking in schools when they took this test. They couldn't really see their friends very well. So there might have been a lot more of, oh, I don't know, maybe my friend is doing this, or like not really being in that social setting, in those clubs and activities and groups. So that may have shifted because of that, but our coalition is looking into that number a lot more because that is extremely significant. Depressive symptoms, this was obviously, it was fall of 2021 when they took the test. So, everything was up, and that's not just Wilson, that's across the board. You can see the county was, well, this is 2023 and the county's 44%. And the state's 39. So it's still, especially elevated in the county. And then the low neighborhood attachment, one of the reason we're doing a lot of those pro-social activities is to impact that number, get those kids attached to the community. We can't take credit for that though, because our programs didn't really start by the fall of 2020. We did our first Touch a Truck event, but that was about it. So that's a number we're gonna keep looking at as we continue, as they take the 2025 survey. Next slide. So then another thing that we did, we took those coalition mixers that we were doing and we turned them into family fun nights. So we had our first one in January. February. And we did a family bingo night, and we had 80 people come out. Family, parents, children, they enjoyed pizza. When anyone won bingo, they received like an Entenmann box of Entenmann's donuts, and it was not monetary at all. And then we had Key Club members from the high school who called out the bingo numbers, and it was just a really amazing event. On Monday, we're doing guided painting with the elementary school art teacher, and then April, we're gonna have Engineers Without Borders from Lafayette College come and do STEM activities. And in May, we're doing the Key Club high school students are doing a scavenger hunt. They're going to write all the clues, and we're going to hold that at the high school. And the students and their parents, the children and their parents are going to be with the students and go around the school and get puzzle pieces and then bring them back to the cafeteria to put together the puzzle to see what it spells out. It's going to be about allyship and belonging and things like that. So that's one of our successes that we have. And then these are some of our funding partners. All right, and any questions about anything? That's our vision statement. So that's the end.
How do you generate those surveys? Or are they?
That is something that's done by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. So it's a statewide survey. They started doing them quite a while ago. And there's the majority of school districts in the state now do the surveys, which is really helpful to kind of know what things are across the state, but then also for individual school districts to really pay attention to them, their individual.
Who participates in that survey?
We had almost 100% participation of the students. It's
So it's all students.
yes,
that
the
are
6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grades.
Hey, Trina.
Yes.
Hi. Quick question. So I went to your website and there was a PDF that you could print out on communities that care. And I was just curious. I'm not familiar with like the hierarchy of the organization. So how does community, I am assuming Communities That Care is a national organization. Is that correct?
Communities That Care is a system that was created by the University of Washington to reduce problem adolescent behaviors. So the professors at the University of Washington, their prevention program, they created this system that could be used in any community. So it's not really a state, like a national organization, but it's utilized in communities that can be used anywhere around the world. They have Communities That Care models in Australia and in Europe and many across the United States.
Okay. So you're all independent and
We're all independent, but we are licensed by them. But
okay.
yeah.
All right. One of the things, Trina, I would say is, well, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just gonna talk about handouts.
Okay. No, before, so I don't forget, I did see on your website too, you're having a tricky tray on the 29th of March, correct?
You might be on the wrong Communities That Care website. We're
Are we
not
back?
on the tricky tray.
Oh, you're not?
No. On our Facebook page, we do promote other people's events though, so if you're on the.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was going to give you a shout out and help you out with that, but all
Well,
right.
you did give us a segue to, this is our funding action plan that we just created as a coalition. It lists all of the different programs that we either have in place or want to put in place, how much they cost, and what our current funding needs are. So if anyone wants to take one of these, I have other copies that I could send by email. We also have our community impact report. This is the new one for compiling from 2024. And then we also have our community action plan, which is what we put together last March and presented about the programming and the data. We have a handout on what is Communities That Care, explain a little bit more about the overall system, and a save the date for our Touch a Truck event, which is on August 10th this year. So you're welcome to take any of these things when everything ends.
Yes, and I had a question too, when you said to reward pro-social activities, is that like participating in them, their reward?
Yes, so one way we do that is we have the Touch a Truck event. That's for the younger kids to receive the backpacks, the school supplies, and then, get to interact with all the trucks and the emergency services personnel. But then we have the high school students that are there volunteering. So it addresses many different age levels, but that volunteerism at a high school level is really important. And you sponsor a key club, so you know all of that already.
What I noticed mostly is the community spirit and having the kids, that's great, the high school kids too, so.
Yeah, they've been a really great partner with us.
I have one more question about the backpacks. Who supplies?
We get them from a number of different places. We put out a call for donations. But last year we did have to use grant funds from one of the state grants that we have to purchase the majority of them. So anyone who wants to donate new backpacks would be welcome to that.
How about the backpacks that are sent home for food? You send home?
We don't send home backpacks, we send home bags.
Okay, bags.
Because the backpacks will come back and smell.
Okay.
Right.
So where do you get the food for that? I mean, is that?
We get some of it from Second Harvest, but most of it is by donation or fiscal donations that are to purchase.
And who does the bagging of that?
We have groups that come in about every 2 to 3 weeks.
You have opportunity?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We have some in April and May.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, let me know.
All right.
Trina, thank you very much. This was most informative and good to hear that all the good things are going on there. And also for volunteer opportunities. So I look forward to the Touch a Truck. So thank you very much.